The disciplining?
Yeah, sure. We could definitely start this podcast.
You just hit the record. You just hit the record button on that.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about you disciplining a woman on this podcast. Sure, we can start the conversation off that way.
God, I am not enough into this cocktail yet to green light that idea.
I'm asking you, what does disciplining a woman consist of anyway?
Well, it consists of a lot of things. In this case, it consisted of a descriptive and articulate reckoning with reality, as described by myself.
At that point, though?
Yes, because the desired outcome was a behavioral correction.
Yeah.
An intermittent behavioral correction that consisted of sitting quietly in the car until I dropped her off.
Do you think a man should be able to discipline a woman?
Depends on what you mean by anybody can discipline anybody, and
corrective behavior.
Yeah, people, look, if you really, by my philosophical edict, of the discipline consequence spectrum, you have discipline. You can't be disciplined. You can be given consequences to nudge you further over on the spectrum, closer to discipline.
Discipline yourself.
Yes,
that's fair.
So I was very liberal in my delivery of consequences.
No sillies, GL. My man PB off that rum. What kind of rum is that?
It's just I like it. It's good, not great. It's Zaya from Trinidad.
Okay.
It was my product placement from last week.
Is it of legal age of consumption, or are you being a pedophile?
I don't know if it's legal in Trinidad. It's a blend of rums up to 16 years age. So 16 is
not bad. 16 in Trinidad is probably legal. Yeah,
it's certainly old enough to drive.
That's legal in Nevada. That's rum legal in Nevada. Ain't that crazy? Tell you, man, you grew up in California. You really, that 18-year-old, legal age of consent is so stuck in your head.
It is 18. I thought it was 21.
Yeah, you go to these other states and these other countries, and that number get crazy. And you be like, what the fuck? You be feeling like so smutted out, like, oh my God, you guys are so horrible.
Wait, so in rural counties in Nevada, not only is the age 16, but you can pay for it. So you can purchase a girl younger than you can even sleep with one for free across state line.
Ugh, man. So it makes you think about like somebody like what's that man that killed himself?
Oh,
this man, the wealthy
Epstein.
Man.
I almost said Weinstein.
Yeah, Epstein should have went to Vegas with his little nasty ass.
He bought his own fucking island.
That is true. He did.
I mean, for Christ's sake.
He made his age whatever he wanted. Man,
he had his own county.
It's not even worth it though, bro. It's not. You know what? Let me not talk down on people, even him. Like, I try not to, because something in your mind got to make you want somebody that young. Maybe his thing was little, you feel me? And like, that was the only way he could feel like big man on campus if he had something that was like new. I don't know why would a man want somebody 18 even. Like, I've seen some pretty quality 18-year-old girls, but none that maybe was like, yeah, I want her. Especially, as I got past 30. Not at 18. That's just.
I think it's a psychological thing where you want that blank canvas and you want her sexually to be made in your own image.
And that's what I said. Something, maybe he didn't feel like his game was tight enough to do that to an older woman. Even though his paper was long.
Maybe he didn't like the idea of fucking around with a woman who was bringing tricks she learned from the neighbor into his bedroom. He said, I don't want anybody. I don't want you to throw it back any old kind of way, but the way I teach you to throw it back, and I don't want you to have ever been taught any other way.
That's a different man.
Billionaires
Oh,
are
man.
different men.
I know, man. I know he in hell, man. That's fucked up. I feel bad for people that come out the womb like that. Like people that he's not a pedophile. He's it's called an ebephile, right? Where it's like more of a teenage thing. But that's just different, when you really need the company of somebody, with all due respect to younger, teenage women, like with that little intellect. Even if you just sleeping
Well,
with them.
hold on. Are you suggesting that there is an intellectual crescendo that takes place at some point in the life of a woman?
They gonna kill your motherfucking ass. Mark my word, they gonna fuck you up. Women, Pete, is gonna come together and fuck you up.
They've been working on that plan for years.
It's gonna happen one of these days, and I'm gonna be right there. I'm gonna let the first 3 or 4 get you, then I'm gonna pull them off you. But they gonna have to rough you up because you just be talking too bad. They need to, feel me? They need to put these hands. You need to get them hands. Them
You're telling me that you think that they think that I need consequences? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh man, you ain't shit. I thought I was you was like way worse. Okay, look. So I was having a conversation with a nice young lady, right? And we were talking about the dynamics. I know, right?
Sorry.
Not young like Jeffrey Epstein young. I mean younger than I am. So
I didn't hear that part. I just heard the nice part.
Yeah, this woman is in her 30s. And we were having a conversation about accountability when it come down to prostitute and pimping.
Was that like you speaking Latin and her trying to keep up?
See, when they fuck you up, you're gonna see. So
they don't even know what we're talking about.
When I first met her, right, I really felt bad. Like I felt like confused. I felt bad. It was like, damn, man, like somebody could trick you into a life where you don't have a certain value, or you could put a value on something that's so priceless, right? Now, mind you, this person could be married to this person. They could have children, move forward. They still have a dynamic together. And what's crazy to me is 4 years later, if you still dealing with that same person, right? Once you come to your conclusion, now it makes me look twice like, damn, is it a pimp can convince you to do anything for him? Or is it a woman wants to do anything for him?
I had what was the word you used last time when on the show with Mook? An epiphany the other day.
Epiphany.
And I tried to write it. I was writing longhand, an introductory opening piece for a comedy show if I was going to do it. So I have to actually construct it. And I got to thinking, like, my epiphany several years ago that hoes crave discipline made me realize just how valuable discipline is. Discipline is a valuable commodity to a woman that she'll suck another man's dick and give that money to another guy so that he gives her discipline. And I don't know if it's necessarily that a woman is like, I don't think a pimp goes and like a predator snatches a woman and brainwashes her. But I think a woman who's lost finds a person who gives her the right framework and puts her in the first ever comfort zone that she's had. And when people become comfortable, they're afraid to leave their comfort zone.
That is unique. But okay, so let's say, but how could you be comfortable in certain situations that's so uncomfortable?
Because you always know what to do and you always have somebody there for you in case things go wrong. You got somebody there to bail you out. You got someone there to pick you up. You got someone there to make sure you got a room. You got someone there to give you money in case you get robbed. All the shit that could happen where you could end up locked up, end up on the street, beat up, all those other types of things. And it can go bad and there's nothing there for you after that but yourself. Now you have a plan. You've got a filter for who you're dealing with. You have a filter for your price point that's been established by that man. You've got a way to make sure that your money doesn't disappear. And you have a way to be able to bounce back when the rug is pulled out from under you because you have a structure beneath you.
Okay. So let's say that's for women who want to go into that line of hustling.
Yes.
What about the women who don't seem destined for that line of hustling? Or are you saying any woman that's in that line was destined from the beginning?
If they weren't destined from the beginning of their life, they were destined from before they started. I don't think that you're finding an intellectual.
So obviously, we're not talking about girls who've been trafficked and kidnapped and beaten, like the movie Taken, where they're kidnapped and they're dragged into prostitution, beaten, drugged, into a place to where it's like, you have to do this, or the thought of dying comes into play. So that's
that's a different psychological analysis.
Okay, so we're talking about women specifically
in the free market, so to speak. Well, I mean, if we're talking about the hoe trade, it's
don't make me laugh. This is a serious conversation that you just said in the free market. But I get it. Okay, go ahead. So okay.
In the marketplace of pussy, but the free portion of the marketplace of pussy.
So not the kidnap part, not the taking, not the Liam.
Yeah, that's not free market. That's communist pussy. We don't want communist.
No communist pussy.
No.
Only
free market pussy.
Democratic pussy.
Everyone has representation.
The pussy that has the pussy of democracy. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you saying, so at that point it's like aligning yourself up with a business partner.
Yeah, I think it's the equivalent to, like, say you're a struggling entrepreneur who continues to find themselves broke, bankrupt, totally washed out, or whatever, and then you find a company and say you don't make the sale that day. It doesn't matter. You have a salary. You have a 401k plan. You have someone there to give you a notebook and a sales presentation and whatever else. You have a book of business of clients already waiting for you. You don't have to go out and start banging on doors trying to find clients. They have clients for you in many cases. There's a lot.
They know where the clients is at.
Or they know where the clients is at.
They know where to put you on display at. They know which window to put you in to actually create the economy.
Absolutely. And they know that, hey, look, if you're out here doing this for $50 a pop, you're in the wrong place with the wrong people. It's okay to say no, because trust me, I'm sitting back, from a bird's eye view. You can say no to a bunch of 50s because there's going to be a 500 coming, and there'll be enough 500s to get you over for the night or whatever.
So you genuinely think that there are women, that there are women who just want to sell their vagina at that point?
Yes.
So do they just like sex, or do they like to okay, so rewind.
Yeah.
I digress. So let's say if it starts with somebody who has an ill relationship with their parent, right? Their father,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lack of, or this really different dynamic, right? So the traditional concept of looking for a father figure in another male, right, comes into play.
Yeah. I think that's part of it. I think there's a fatigue to the stress and the anxiety. I think women do like security in general.
Stress and anxiety of what?
The stress and anxiety of, at that point, like, seriously, like, think about it. If you fail hoeing, even temporarily, like that, you're in a garbage bag or what do you call it? Cardboard box.
Nobody wants to buy pussy from you. Has there ever been a prostitute? Somebody want to buy pussy from you.
Yeah, but you could, but it's not that you can't sell it. It's that you can't sell it at the right price, that you can get robbed for it, that you can get beat down, that you can, like, fuck around and blow your money all on one day and then hit a slow night. You can get arrested, get all your money taken from you on a Thursday, then you got to sit in jail till Monday morning because they're going to slow play you through the system. Like all those things happen, and having a team around you for a lot of people is very comforting. Like, I mean, I have 2 interesting podcast-worthy prostitute stories, but I've known a handful of girls that were either from stripping or from this or whatever that did that and shit over the years. I actually did literally save a hoe in East Oakland in 2004.
You saved a hoe.
I saved a hoe in 2005.
Cardinal rule number 1.
This was funny.
You saved them?
Not like you think.
Fucking Superman.
Not like you think.
Do not save them.
This was funny. I had to do it. It was hysterical. The bitch
tell me how you came.
I didn't say, sweetheart, I'm gonna give you all my money and I'm gonna build you a life. I didn't say that.
Okay, how did you save them?
I'm on probably International and High, somewhere down there. I had a girl over there. So like, this chick, I could see her. She was like running away from being robbed, and I'm at the light, and it's the middle of the night, but I'm sitting at one of those stupid red lights at 2:30 in the morning where there's nobody around, and she like booking it, and she was bad as fuck, and I'm like, dude, hop in, and she hops in the car, and whoop, we out of there. And we were cool from then on. For like the rest of my time in Oakland, we were cool. And then I went back to Southern California for a month or so before I went to Phoenix. And she calls me, where are you? I'm like, I'm in LA. Where are you? I'm in LA. Then I go to Phoenix. Where are you? I'm in Phoenix. Where are you? I'm in Phoenix. So we were in touch for like a year or so. Her pimp used to hate my guts. He was really like funny about her hanging out with me because he knew I wasn't giving her a dime and he didn't want her breaking the rules. But like,
he didn't want that free market to be free.
Yeah, no, he didn't want any Costco samples given out.
No Costco versions.
He said, the consumers heard about pussy. We don't need to flood the market with samples.
We don't need. We're not starting a new business right here. We're not a new company passing out samples. You know the product.
And I used to really kind of talk to her a lot about that shit. And I was like, and I knew another girl who was an All-American on my track team, got turned out by a football player and was out hoeing and shit. And she was my roommate in college, and we were really, really, really close friends. And she was running around hoeing for this man all over the country for like 3 or 5 years or something like that. Like almost threw her whole 20s away with a college degree and all that shit. And like, it's one of those things where I've never had anything that made me money before that I could do. And part of it was the guy, part of it was the life, I mean, like Sugar Free made a great point. Don't nobody understand a pimp and a hoe, but a pimp and a hoe. And that's true. It's not something I could understand. It's something I could put my finger on. I know what it is, but it's like, I can't understand it.
Pimp. So do you think that there are situations where women are accountable in these situations? Where they're not the victims?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
If you had to scale out of every, let's say 10 pimp and hoe relationship, 10, minus no traffic, no communist,
free market ones.
No communist vagina, like only free market shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only capitalism, please. Only capitalism.
Of course.
On this, out of 10, where would you say women are just as accountable as the actual pimp himself? Out of every 10 pimp hoe relationships, 9 of them.
Yeah, 9 of them.
So they want to do this for him.
A lot of the time, they start doing it in some sort of a way, and they realize, wow, I'm doing this, whatever. And then that pimp comes along, and if they don't realize because it's real, or they realize because they think, since I'm doing this guy just made doing this a whole lot better.
Okay, what about when a woman's first time, right, is because a guy convinced her to?
Her first time selling
Like,
it,
let's say, like, yeah, her first time turning the trick. If it was her first time turning the trick and the guy convinced her, even though I struggle
unless
to
the
understand
guy
that
beat the
because,
dog shit out of her, which
huh?
is kind of
Huh?
what unless the guy's plain,
Yeah, not
yeah,
again. We're not talking about Hitler pussy.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
not talking about
It's
1944
still,
German pussy.
it's still you.
So
It's
you
still the
have to make
woman.
a decision.
Yeah, you know what it was? In those scenarios, it's I have an itch to scratch where I want to be the bad girl. And I like the glitz of this lifestyle. There's some money and some this and some that, blah, 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 blah. And it's a combination of being infatuated with the lifestyle and wanting to go just do what you know you're not supposed to do. And that's on you.
So it's like selling drugs. Same exact thing, like for me,
Yeah.
because that's what it sounds like. You fall in line with the lifestyle and the economics of it, but the lifestyle more than anything.
Yeah.
So 9 out of every 10 free market pimp whole relationship
Conservatively 9.
conservative. Oh, so you really want to say 10?
I know there's exceptions and people get all funny about you can't say all, you can't say those exceptions.
Okay.
Sure, take your token exception and run to the bank with it.
Okay.
Like that pimp did with your money.
Okay. And what's funny is, as much as I want to disagree with you, right? Because I really want to believe that women are the victim, because I think we do create this world where we do tend to make women less accountable
Yeah.
for everything. I mean, that's the society we created. We created this society where it's like we don't want to make them accountable. But when I think about it, that is a lot to do. That's a
Is it?
lot to do to
Is
to
it?
sell some pussy for somebody else because they wanted you to.
You're not selling it. At the end of the day, like, I don't believe that they're selling it for someone else because they want them to. They're selling it because they want to. And they're trying, and that guy represents an intermediary between their money and the reality of their own devices.
I don't believe. Now I'm not gonna do that. I don't believe they sell it because they always want to. I definitely believe they will do. I definitely know women will do certain things because a guy wants them to. They may not even want to do it. But they will do things because a guy wants them to, for
Well,
sure.
that depends on your definition of want. I mean, you don't want to go to work, but you want the money. So you go willingly to work. You actually apply and
But
you
by
put
that
in
same
effort.
standard, if it's the guy's affection that they're desiring, and this is how they think they're going to achieve it, I don't know if that still says they sell pussy. I don't think 9 out of 10 prostitutes sell pussy because they want to.
I don't think 9 out of 10 prostitutes with a pimp, that's their first pimp, and that's the guy who started them off with that at all, by any means.
So out of 10 pimping whole relationships, how many out of the 10 would you like to believe sold pussy before they ever got a pimp?
9.
God damn, you think
And
9 women sold pussy
yeah,
and then the game found them?
yeah, in some capacity or another.
I think that's important. I'm gonna tell you why that thought is important, and we should probably do more research into that,
And
because that should be
I'm giving a
something.
vague description of the definition of soul.
But I'm gonna tell you why that's important, because how you charge a pimp at that point, right? And
Mhm.
trafficking, how you charge a pimp. If a woman has sold pussy before she had this pimp,
Yeah.
the way he's judged should be completely different in the court of law.
He should actually, I think, in my opinion, be given a tax deduction because of all of the trouble and consequences that he has saved her by giving her, like as a parent, you can give your child a spanking when they run into the middle of the street, and they go, "Hold on, you can't spank your child." But if your child runs in the middle of the street and gets hit by a car,
You're going to
how
jail.
much force did the spanking? What was the delta of force between the spanking and the car accident? It's severe. So you should be given a credit for the
So you
mitigation
think
of consequences.
9 out of every 10 pimp hoe relationships, a woman sold pussy before they ever got a pimp?
Yeah, if you out there with it like that with a hoe,
Now
then
that
or
I'm
like with a
thinking
pimp,
about it,
then yeah.
that's not really crazy.
I mean,
And,
talking about like
and
these are
maybe they
the
didn't sell
Marines
it.
of pussy selling.
And maybe they didn't sell it in the way traditionally we think of pimping hoes, like right where it's on the blade or a back page, or you set it up. But maybe you've been in the habit of getting something you want for sex. Like let's say if a lady has like a guy that likes her and she really don't like him, or she like him enough to give him some pussy, but she knows there's financial incentives in knocking this man down.
How about this?
So that could be true, 9 out of 10.
For sure. I mean,
Because I don't know if you could go from just not using your pussy as an asset, as a free market asset, to just now making it, you the fucking orange man on the corner with it.
I'll bet I could. That's a great line, by the way. I'll bet the over on 50% started because when they were in 9th or 10th grade, somewhere in that ballpark between 8th and 11th, they knew somebody in their apartment complex or at a house nearby, neighbor on the block, whatever, who had weed that they wanted to smoke, and they would stroll up over there and they learned, if I suck this guy's dick, I can get $20 or $30 of weed for free. I'll bet that's greater than half right there.
So you saying women?
How many times come through and fade this blunt?
Sure.
Yeah. Nobody want to give. I don't invite girls over here. Come over here. Take this $25 cigar. Just take it. You're so great. I'm not doing that. I mean, girls don't want it, but if they wanted cigars like they wanted weed, I'm not just giving it away. Of course, you're not just inviting people over to give away shit.
So they've been using sex as a bargaining tool.
Yes, since the beginning of time.
So then at that point, really, are women victims in this whole dynamic?
No, if you could say, think about this. In 2008, a presidential election was won based on the idea that he was protecting the citizens from predatory lending. Not one person from a bank kidnapped anybody, was going door to door, or anything like that. If you wanted to get into a loan, you had to go find a guy loaning money to get you a house. You had to go from where you were to where he was. That guy wasn't coming to you. If anything, and they don't say, oh, we blame the consumer, we blame the distributor. For some reason, in pussy, it's the consumer's fault. But in drugs, in home loans, anything else, it's the seller's fault. You know what I mean? There's an inconsistency there. I'm not going to say they're not victims, they're perpetrators. How many times do you see a girl try to, seduce their way into whatever, or get some guy's attention from whatever, or go out so that I can see you from 6 blocks away looking like a piece of ass? And what? You're fly fishing. I'm a trout. You caught me. I'm the victim. You're not the victim. Fuck out of here. You had pussy before. You came in with pussy. You left with pussy. I came in with $100. I left with empty pockets. You're the predator. Fuck out of here.
Say that again, please.
You came in with pussy. You came out with pussy. I came in with $100. I came out with empty pockets. You the predator. Straight up.
Oh, that's a good point.
Straight up.
I always say that. Use pussy, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. It's like a solar-powered car.
Pussy is a solar-powered car.
It just keeps charging itself and going down the road.
Oh God, cuz what the fuck? Okay. So then why does the legal system? Okay, I know the answer to that. Because we created a society where women don't have to be accountable. That's the and I'm a part of it. I agree. I am a part of this same society where women don't have to be accountable. And every day as I snap out of it, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. You demand equality, but you don't want equal responsibility for said acts.
Of course, everybody nowadays, you hear in political rhetoric, the debate between equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. This is a good example of that. I want equality of outcome. I don't want equality of responsibility, accountability, and cost. I don't want an accountability of cost. I want an accountability of, take home.
We have to write a pimp and hoe movie.
You're damn right.
We need to write that and be able to shoot that. We need to write it so we can shoot it ourselves. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that next year.
I just sent my buddy the link to the movie. I want to say American Bad Boy with Cat Williams. Did you see that about the right track?
No. I performed at the right track. I think I told the story a couple podcasts ago.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is,
are those men victims?
What's crazy, I don't know how women strippers do it. Like when that little stud lady threw that money up and that shit was falling on me, I could have killed her. Like I genuinely didn't want to pick up the money. I literally wanted to go out to the fucking Bentley, get my pistol, and shoot her. Like, bitch, you got me fucked up. What do you think is going on? And it's because I felt like she treated me like them. That's the truth. Like,
yeah.
So if you don't feel that, it does make me question it. Like, damn. But
it goes back to our conversation last time. Can a woman be a bum? No, because that's what they aspire to be.
That's exactly like a man aspires to be a hoe. A woman can't be a bum because they aspire to be somebody provided for and taken care of economically. And men can't be hoe because they aspire to get vagina. And we both put in society, we put credence on who does either or. Like if you are a woman and you find a man to take quality care of you, to buy you a house and buy you a car and this, that, and third, you are a successful woman in our society.
You're living the dream. You got a TV show now. You're called a Real Housewife.
Yeah, like you do have a TV show. Matter of fact,
in every city, not a TV show in every city.
But I'm saying they've always, the soaps is that story.
Yeah.
Right. And if, as a man, right, you're Hugh Hefner. Right. You're the man. If all the girls want to give you pussy, you are a god amongst men. I never thought about that though, man. That's a deep thought. Women are just, and it's funny because I was saying that to her. I was like, yo, like at first, when I first heard the story, I did feel like somebody took advantage of you. I was like, damn, they had to take advantage of you. But if you still could be okay with that person, something, and you know what's funny? That makes sense because you have to be rebelling against something to initially do it the first time.
Yes.
You have to be like, I'm gonna show you. Like you showing somebody something. I mean, I think there is a woman some women like who just genuinely like fucking, but I don't even think that's
those are the realest thing. Those women are just sluts. They're not out there making money off of it.
Sure, they're not. Yeah. And I do put a hoe over a slut.
That's interesting. That's an interesting conversation in itself.
I would marry a hoe before a slut. Because a slut is like, a hoe at least has some concept of worth or value, right? A slut has no concept of worth or value for herself.
How about this? A slut has enough concept of worth or value to herself outside of her pussy that she earns her own living. Whereas a hoe Her only value is derived from her pussy.
Maybe.
Not saying it's right, just saying it's another way to look at it.
Well, I don't know because sluts get paid the same way as hoes, except the difference is sluts try to fight sluts try to want you to respect it. Hoes don't give a damn if you respect it.
True.
Like especially the new, like women are not
The
proud.
new
I don't know a
sluts.
proud slut. Like Amber Rose, with all due respect to her, cuz is the first proud slut I've ever met, and I don't think genuinely she's proud. I think that's her defense mechanism, right? To deal with how people are judging her. You know what I'm saying? I've met proud hoes. I mean, girls who have really been like, yeah, I did what I had to do. This what I was doing. This how I was getting it. Feel me? So yeah, I still stand with hoe above slut. So how much accountability do you give the pimp?
What do you mean? Accountability for all the positive things he does for her, or accountability for all the negative things he does for her?
Okay, what are the negative things pimps do in that dynamic of pimp and hoe relationship?
It's probably
Let's start with just the abuse, right? The first thing is the abuse, right? Where, because it does turn physical, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What else
would be negative?
Negative.
It's hard to say because in a vacuum, you could look at it and go, well, they take a lot of these girls' money and they drag them out longer in the game than they need to be.
They don't take girls' money. Women give pimps their money.
Yeah, but they give them like an allowance. So they hold a lot of the gross.
But I'm saying they don't take anything. They receive the money.
For sure.
Because if you choose a pimp, right? Or if you have a pimp, part of the game is paying that person.
Yeah, they're rendering a service.
It's definitely.
It's basically just a. Quite frankly, I mean, pimps are the first, contracted consultants in the history of human commerce. Nobody else had consultants.
Wow.
I mean, when you figure back in the day, most of humankind was, hunting. They were agrarian. They were building shelters, whatever. There weren't any consultants. But if the oldest
harlot,
if the oldest profession is prostitution, then the second oldest profession is prostitution consulting.
Cosby gonna get canceled.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, that's a good point, cuz. A harlot. Mm-hmm. And we need what would be the oldest name for pimps?
Oh, man,
I like your answer though.
I mean, Sugar Free says gentlemen of leisure.
Wow, gentlemen of leisure. Oh, Christ. Okay. It makes a lot more sense now. Now I'm starting to really come into a phase of understanding, right? Because we do create this world where women don't have accountability, right? And we allow them to thrive in it, right? They're consistently the victims.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the main dynamics that has that connotation. Even though I agree with you. Well, it just depends on how many women are trafficked into prostitution at this point when we talking prostitution. How many women are trafficked into prostitution? That's a different thing.
That's interesting.
That's actually not pimping. I wouldn't even call that person a pimp. No. You're actually a fucking kidnapper.
Yeah, you're
like I agree. That person is not a pimp.
You're a slaveholder. I mean,
you're a fucking slaver.
Yeah, that's all you're doing.
I agree. That's fair. So we need to remove that person from the conversation. We're focusing on the
and
dynamic
honestly,
of
like,
true pimping and
how do
handling.
you even find that shit? Like, I mean, I guess there's a lot of people who you can find like on a regular internet ad, and they just happen to have somebody next door in the room. You try to get away. We're gonna do our thing, whether it be a Latin-derived mob, Asian, Russian, and those places are hotbeds for a lot of that shit. But like, you hear about like, oh, someone had like a dungeon and these women were tied up and people were coming in and fucking them. How would you find? I never fucking like stumbled. I've been through every back alley, fucking underground black market shit you could ever imagine. I've never heard of a sex dungeon for hire that
Where you could go and the girls are just
who got
chained
the
up.
plug on 15-year-olds locked up in a basement somewhere. Well, I never heard of that. I wouldn't even know how the market would find them.
Okay.
I know it exists. I'm just saying.
What about mentally enslaved? Like, let's say if you have one of those massage parlors, right? And this is tricky because it's not the same, but I thought about it. And you bartered, right, your opportunity to come to America, right? As let's say as some woman of Asian, descent, right? And you bartered to come to America in exchange, right, for them smuggling you into the country. You have to sell so much vagina, right? At the massage parlor. Like, let's say they say you have to work here for 4 years. This is in exchange for you coming to America. And I agree, like, we will have, as a society, we will have a stance like, oh, you kept her here against her will for 4 years, even though you guys made a deal, because coming to America, right, was worth you selling the vagina for 4 years.
And that's assuming
if
there's a
let's say the
scrupulous
deal
deal
is that honorable.
Yeah, I think that's the variable there.
Because I would imagine what they charge to smuggle people, you'd have to sell pussy for some years.
It's about 20, maybe, all told, 20, 25.
20, 30,000, because you got to remember, you got to get them some kind of ID. 20, 30,000. Yeah, you might have to sell pussy up in this motherfucker for 2-3 years.
Man, you must have some sorry ass pussy if it takes you 2-3 years to get 20,000.
Well, it's not like that, right? Because
there's overhead.
Yeah, it's the overhead of the business. Like, let's say every bit of
house them, clothes
every happy ending that you present is worth $10.
Where's this?
I don't know, but I'm making it up in my mind.
Yeah.
Let's say every happy ending, right, is worth $10, right? Because what do they charge for the massage? It's like $50,
somewhere around there,
right? So then a happy ending probably be another 50, I would imagine. I never seen. I didn't even think it was real till somebody else told me. I ain't never went to no massage parlor and a woman offered me a happy ending.
I'll tell you right now, I was less than a mile from the studio and was offered one of those because we were supposed to record like one day.
Where the fuck is that at?
On the north side of Palmdale, a few blocks west of you, between the 14 and the studio. I went to go get a massage because I'd been in the car for like 3 hours, and you're like, "Oh, let's do it instead of 3 o'clock, like 5 o'clock." And I'm like, "What the hell am I gonna do in Palmdale for the next 2 hours?" So I was like, "I'd get a massage." Man, that lady was game planning her whole shit around that damn jerk off, and I was like, "You picked the wrong day, lady. Maybe another day I'd have been with it, but you a little old and my back's a little sore."
She's gonna give you an old hand job.
It was perfect, man, because that carpal tunnel was just it. She didn't even have to do anything.
It was already in position. It was wow.
It was the claw of pleasure, she called it.
So let's say if it's $10, let's say, because you might get a tip, but then your contribution might be $10 or $20, right? Okay. So let's say you have to do 1,000 customers. That might take some years.
Yeah, it could.
And then if I loaned you 20,000 to do this, and it's going to take 2 years, I may want interest. So again, it's one of those things where I don't even know if that person is a victim. I agree with you. Like, you do have to have some desire. You are using your attributes to gain something you desire. You're using sex to gain something you desire. That's fair.
Yeah.
Fair from a logical standpoint.
I mean, let me ask two questions. One, I mean, as far as accountability goes and victims, predators, all this kind of stuff, how many scenarios do you hear of in which women are depicted, or a woman is depicted, other than the adult to child thing excluded because a woman beating up on her kids is going to
that's
be
not
the perpetrator.
actually, it's
But
pedophilia ring.
not even type of sexually. I'm just saying, like, in the greater scope
Sure.
of
Go ahead.
society, how many scenarios do you hear of, or can you name in which a woman is not perceived as the victim when there's, a butting of heads and interests?
And we're talking about pimping and hoeing?
I'm talking about anything. Women are perceived as the victim in everything.
Lorena Bobbitt. That comes to mind. I think
Yeah,
they didn't
that was about 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that do get real thin. Where are women considered the?
I mean, where are all the
aggressors and not the
lawsuits
victims?
by grown men against their female corporate overheads, for creating a hostile work environment because they looked at him funny or touched him on the shoulder?
You know what's funny? I have a weird way I feel about. Now, I don't know the details of Harvey Weinstein, right? But I remember there was one conversation, specifically one incident that I remember hearing about. Now, I'm sure there's more. I just don't know. So I'm not talking about the overall guilt or innocence of his case. Obviously, they said he's guilty. So whatever they say he did, I'd imagine, they have did whatever they need to do to make sure they get that motherfucker off the street, whatever. I don't know. But there was one time where somebody wanted me, my homegirl wanted me to be outraged because he told this girl, hey, if you want this part in this movie, suck my dick. And I told her, I was like, well, I'm not outraged. She's like, why not? He's using his power to get what he wants. And I looked at her like, what the fuck? You do this shit all the time to niggas. Like, you always use
their power to
your power to get what you want. Historically, motherfucker, you've been using your power to get what you want since I've known you. She will go out with a date with a nigga just to eat dinner. Like, literally has told me, like, yeah, I'm going out. Yeah, he gonna take me here, and I really want to eat that shit. Not like, oh, I really like this guy, and this date makes sense because we're gonna get to know each other. But like, yo, no, I'm going here because I've never had Del Frisco's, and he's gonna take me there.
And that's the story behind every picture of a plate without a guy in it that every woman has posted on social media in the last 5 years.
And that shit is, and when you think about it, that shit is such a shame, dog. All of these trips and shit and vacation, they never post that nigga. They never post that nigga. We know damn well you did not fly yourself there. How dare you be ashamed of the nigga who made one of your dreams come true?
I wonder if they look at it like identity theft risk. Like if they were to post their entire credit card, 16 numbers, expiration date, and everything like that, you don't take a picture with the credit card that paid for it because you don't want someone to use your number. Whereas if they take a picture of the credit card,
well, another girl gonna sit and be like, oh, he's the one. So it might not be shame. It might be hiding assets. It's like, this nigga is one of my trip assets.
That's barrier of entry right there.
But so yeah, I digress back to the point. I was saying, I was telling her that just didn't bother me that he used a Hollywood role he used a role in a film and for Hollywood in a big film to get some fucking head. Like, he told another girl, if you want this part, let me jack off in front of you.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm like, first off, this dude is, and if you see this motherfucker, dog, he's not like a handsome motherfucker. I mean, I'm no homosexual, so I don't know how to judge men, but I would like to think I know what a handsome looking guy looks like. Like, I would like to believe that I have some understanding of what a decent looking guy. Harvey Weinstein ain't getting no pussy if he doesn't have roles in films.
If Harvey Weinstein didn't look like Harvey Weinstein, he'd have just been in the movies himself. For one.
He wouldn't have to cast nobody. But I thought it was weird that she wanted me to be outraged that a man was using his power to get what he wanted. And I'm like, fool, you built your whole legacy off of this. Like, I've watched you use men endless times, and I hope you listening to this fucking podcast and you are reminded that you have used men endless times to get what you want based off of his desire to sleep with you.
I have a scenario for you. Let's say I'm a big time casting guy or agent or producer, director, whatever the fuck it is. And I know Susie over there did the best reading, the best audition, everything. She's the one for that role. And then Amy comes over afterwards and she knows I made my decision and it wasn't her. And goes, hey, I'll suck your dick if you give me that role. And I give her the role. And she bombs it up and I get fucking fired. Is there any consequence to Amy?
Answer this question in the comments.